The environment I called home was overshadowed by the dark clouds of abuse and addiction. My mother, battling her own demons and alcoholism, became the source of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual torment in my life. However, the story of the pain inflicted upon me cannot be told without tracing the lineage of suffering that haunted my family, a cycle of abuse that predates even my mother's own tormented childhood. In a life marred by trauma, forgiveness is not just a word, it's a profound, often painful journey towards healing, understanding, and ultimately peace. This video explores my personal journey of embracing forgiveness against a backdrop of generational trauma inflicted by those closest to me, and the liberating path that forgiveness has paved in my life. I was conceived in violence, born into a world where abuse was a grim part of my everyday reality. This all stemmed from the abuse my mother suffered at the hands of numerous men, often those who wielded power within the church, a place that should have been a sanctuary. These men, including influential church figures, perpetuated a cycle of abuse that seemed inescapable. It was within this bleak setting that my mother grew up, and later, so did I. It was when my father, who was also a Baptist preacher, was at the end of his life that I began to uncover the full extent of my family's buried secrets. I learned of my mother's devastating past and the horrific experiences she endured. The revelations shook the very foundations of what I knew about my family. My mother was conceived in an environment where abuse was rampant. Her own mother had allowed men to harm her, creating a cycle of victimization and suffering. My father, who was 46 years older than my mother, had also played a role in this cycle, starting when my mother was under 10 years old. These revelations came late. I only discovered that he was indeed my father 2 years before these truths came to light when I was 9 years old. As I grew older, I learned the painful truth that my mother was not only a perpetrator of abuse, but also a victim. This duality was difficult to reconcile. How could I come to terms with her as both my abuser and a person who had herself endured immense suffering? This question haunted me, especially as I began to make my career in the field of trauma and abuse, which provided me with a professional perspective on the psychological impacts of such deep-seated pain. With a professional background in dealing with trauma and abuse, I've come to understand that my mother, despite being my primary abuser, was also a profound victim of her circumstances. The abuse she suffered as a child, especially from trusted religious leaders, shaped her into the person who later perpetuated the cycle of abuse onto me. This understanding doesn't excuse her actions, but provides a context that is crucial for healing and forgiveness. Forgiving my mother was not about absolving her of the pain she caused. Rather, it was a necessary step for my own healing. I had to acknowledge that she, too, was once a helpless victim who endured horrors that no child should ever face. Her journey of forgiveness began with her own mother, my grandmother, which she managed to do before my grandmother's passing in January. Witnessing this closure influenced my decision to embark on my own journey towards forgiveness. Choosing to forgive has been a struggle, filled with emotional setbacks and moments of intense clarity. The process is not easy. It requires constant effort and immense emotional resilience. I am learning to separate my mother's actions from her past victimhood, understanding that while the latter explains her behavior, it does not excuse it. This distinction is crucial in fostering a healthier relationship, moving from a place of anger and pain to one of understanding and cautious reconciliation. Forgiving helped me free myself from the chain of resentment and the burden of the past. It was a decision made not for her, but for me, an essential step to heal and move forward with my life. Understanding her history of victimization helped me see her not just as a figure of torment, but as a person overwhelmed by her unaddressed traumas. This insight was pivotal in my journey towards forgiveness. I also had to forgive my grandmother, recognizing that she, too, was a product of her environment. She lived in a time when the protection of young girls was not as prioritized, and abuse was often swept under the rug. This historical perspective provided a broader understanding of the generational patterns of abuse within my family. As I continued to navigate this complex relationship with my mother, I am constantly learning about the depths of human resilience and the power of forgiveness. It is a personal journey that impacts how I view the world and approach other relationships. Each day offers a chance to heal a little more, to understand a little deeper, and to forgive a little easier. Not just for those who hurt me, but for myself. Forgiving someone who has profoundly hurt you is a complex process. It does not happen overnight and is often filled with setbacks. For me, it involved deep introspection, therapy, spiritual healing, and the willingness to confront painful memories. There were moments of intense anger and grief as I worked through my feelings towards my mother. However, each step in the process was crucial. It allowed me to reclaim my power and voice, which had been silenced for so long. Forgiveness also opened a pathway to rebuilding my relationship with my mother. This did not mean forgetting the past or fully mending everything that was broken, but it did mean establishing a new, healthier dynamic based on mutual understanding and respect. My mother still battles with her demons. She still struggles with addiction and the trauma she still deals with daily. I am still triggered when I hear the alcohol in her voice and keep my family distant from her. I'm still learning how to deal, but know that it is all part of the process in my journey. Faith played a complicated role in my life. This caused me to set out to find my own spirituality. I still foster the morals and values I learned from the religion I grew up in. But in my journey, I found a community that supported my healing. I had to navigate my relationship with faith, distinguishing between the individuals who misused their power and the spiritual teachings that promoted forgiveness and healing. Today, I continue to work on my relationship with my mother. Forgiveness is an ongoing process, and there are still days when old wounds surface. However, I have learned valuable lessons about the power of resilience and the importance of setting boundaries. Embracing forgiveness has allowed me to grow in ways I once thought impossible. It has taught me about the depths of human strength and the capacity for change. It has also underscored the importance of addressing trauma head-on, both for personal healing and for breaking the cycle of abuse for future generations. Forgiveness is not just a gift to those who have wronged us, it is a gift to ourselves. It is a crucial step towards healing from trauma and reclaiming a life of peace and fulfillment. By choosing forgiveness, I have not only transformed my relationship with my mother, but have also taken a significant step towards personal empowerment and resilience. The generational cycle of abuse and victimhood within my family is a powerful reminder of the lasting impact of trauma. It emphasizes the importance of protecting the vulnerable and intervening to stop the cycle of abuse. By choosing to forgive and seeking to understand the deep-seated roots of my family's pain, I am hopeful to break this cycle, ensuring a future where such suffering is not ongoing. In sharing my story, I hope to reach others who may be grappling with similar challenges, to encourage them that while the path to forgiveness is filled with difficulty, it is also laden with the potential for profound personal growth and healing. As I continue to work through these complex emotions and relationships, I am reminded of the strength that can be found in forgiveness, not just as a gift to those who have wronged us, but as a profound act of self-liberation. This journey is not easy, nor is it straightforward, but it is always worth it. For anyone struggling with similar issues, know that you are not alone and that there is hope. Forgiveness can be your pathway out of the darkness, leading to a future where you are no longer defined by your past, but by the strength of your character and your capacity to overcome. If this message resonates with you, please show your support by liking and sharing it with others. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay updated with new empowering content as it becomes available. Together, we can make a difference and spread inspiration far and wide. Spread empowerment. Subscribe for inspiration.